What's up everyone, it's Kelly and today I've got another comparison video for you. Today we're talking all about blue flaky jellies. So you may have noticed this, but a ton of brands have been releasing these blue flaky jellies, especially for summer 2024, and I feel like we've gotten enough to the point where it's time to compare. So I have a bunch of the new release blue flaky jellies. I also have a few older ones that I thought would be nice to compare. I actually have 10 in total to go over, and we are going to be focusing specifically on this one type of polish. I do have other shades in my collection that are similar, but today I'm focusing on just blue polishes with a jelly formula that primarily have iridescent flakies running throughout. So we've got a bunch of different brands, we've got a bunch of different variations of blue, we've got a lot of different kinds of flakies in here. So let me go ahead and dive in, and then we can have a big comparison chart at the end and we can see if any of them are duplicates. So we'll start off with KB Shimmer Swim Pickings because this is the color that actually inspired the video. So this one is a blue jelly base, but it's actually more of a primary blue, super bright kind of color. And then within that base, we've got a whole rainbow of iridescent flakies. So looking at it, you can see a lot of green, you can see yellow, you can see pink, you can see purple. So there's really a lot of color in here, and there is a lot of variation in the size of the iridescent flakies. So we have some really large ones and we have some that are super tiny. And now I'm going to jump into an older one. This is the Crab from Starly. This is actually one of my older collaborations with them. And the reason I wanted to do this one next to Swim Pickings is because a lot of people did ask me in my review of that one how it compared to the Crab. And I will say they are very different. This one is a darker, less vibrant blue base. And then within that, we've got smaller rainbows of iridescent flakies as well as a hollow shimmer. So it really does feel like a different color. This one honestly to me doesn't really feel as much like a jelly. It feels more like a shimmery hollow kind of polish that has the added flaky in there. Next up we've got Cadillacer High Tide. This was a new polish from them for summer 2024, and this one is another blue jelly with the iridescent flakies, of course, because that's what this whole video is, but this one is a very different blue. So we've got this very cool toned sky blue, and within that we've got primarily what looks like pink and green iridescent flakies. So you can see a little bit of gold, but you can see a lot of green with the little hints of pink here and there. So it definitely gives a lighter, springy, summery kind of vibe, and it almost has more of a sky feel rather than an oceanic feel to me. And then we've got Mooncat, The Sea Between Us. This was part of their Songs of Sirens collection, and this was actually one of the first collections this year that came out with this type of finish. And again, this one is pretty different. Again, we've got that cooler sky blue base color, but within it we've got primarily these green iridescent flakies, and then we also have a very subtle hollow sparkle running throughout, as well as what appears to be a blue iridescent shimmer running throughout. So it just adds a little bit different of a feel to it. It definitely makes this polish feel like the shimmer and specialty within it is a little bit smaller, and then with all of those green iridescent flakies, it definitely warms up the color a little bit. And then we've got another Mooncat shade. This one is Don't Cry Bubbles, and this was part of their recent Powerpuff Girls collection. And I have to say, these two were compared a lot when this collection came out, but I do think they're very, very different. This one is almost like a baby blue base kind of color, so it's a lot lighter. It does have a little bit more warmth to it. We've got much larger iridescent flakies in here, although we do also have some smaller ones as well. And one thing you can't really see on camera but shows up a lot in real life is the addition of blue iridescent flakies. So they add a really interesting color to the polish that's hard to see, but we also have lime green circle glitters in here. So I do think that also very much changes the way that this polish feels. Next up we have a little bit of a different one. This is Ice Cream Nails Fairy Fountain. This one came out a little while ago, but I thought it was good to include because it is a blue jelly that has iridescent flakes, but it is a pretty different formula. This one I would consider to be a sheer, and honestly I would primarily use this one as a topper, but you can reach decently full coverage on its own. So for me, I ended up doing 3 coats on this. You could still see a hint of my visible nail line, but you can see that blue base is very, very sheer, and then it is totally packed with very cool toned iridescent flakies that are on the medium and smaller side. And then I believe this one also has a blue iridescent shimmer running throughout. Moving on, we've got KB Shimmer I'll Be There, and and this one is a bit of a deeper blue base. You can see it almost has that kind of navy blue, slightly dusty base color going on, and then within it we've got the iridescent flakes that are mostly blue, green, yellow, and again we have a really strong variation between really big flakies that almost look kind of like scales all the way down to super teeny tiny flakies. So again, a lot of variation in this one, and something I see a lot in Cape Shimmer that honestly I love. And then we've got another Mooncat shade. This is Maelstrom, and if you're wondering why I didn't show that next to the other Mooncats, if you haven't noticed, I am trying to kind of do these in color order, so trying to group these similar blues together, and I feel like this one is definitely different from the other Mooncat shades. This one is a much deeper blue base, and then within it we've got primarily these green iridescent flakies, so it really makes this polish look a lot more green, oceanic, swampy kind of vibes. And then we also have a subtle hollow sparkle running throughout in this one as well, so it's a lot deeper of a color and it feels a lot greener because of the color of those flakies. Then we've got one from Cuticula. This one is called Cursed Forest, and this one I actually almost didn't include in this video because it feels so different, but it is technically still a blue base that has iridescent flakies in it, although this base is very green tinge, so it almost feels like a teal base color. And then within it we've got these larger iridescent flakies that are blue, green, we've got little hints of pink and yellow around, and this one definitely feels very different from the rest. As the name implies, it does kind of feel like a magical forest kind of vibe to me, so I think it's really interesting how you can take the same base color idea and make it into something so completely different. And then we've got Rogue Lacquer Ocean Water, again very different from the rest. At first glance it does seem like it's similar to those lighter Mooncat shades, but this one again is a lot more green toned, so we've got that very light blue, almost turquoise kind of jelly base color, and then we've got the iridescent flakies running throughout that really do have that sort of turquoise to green to yellow look to them, so it almost reminds me of sea glass. It feels kind of like tropical water vibes to me, like that very clear, very turquoise water where you can see everything in it. So I think this one's really cool, but again, very different from the rest. And I know I said I had 10 polishes, but I did want to include this bonus 11th one, even though technically it's not a blue flaky. This one is actually the newest from Holo Taco. It's called Simply Chaotic, and it's actually a thermal that shifts from green to purple. So when it's warm, it's this greenish teal kind of color, and then when it's cold, it's this dark purple. And it does have an iridescent flaky running throughout in kind of a rainbow of colors. But the reason I wanted to include this one was to see how it compared to the others, but two, because when it's in that in-between state between the purple and the green, it actually does look like a blue flaky jelly. So I felt like it was cool to just see how this one compared to the rest, and I have to say, even in that medium blue kind of state, I still don't think it's very similar to the rest. So it's really fun to see how these brands, even within the same brand, you can see the same type of polish and it just looks so totally different. So yeah, those are all of the blue flaky jelly polishes that I have for comparison. So here's a big chart. You can see them all side by side. Now, when it comes to duplicates, are any of these exact dupes of each other? Personally, I don't think so. I think they all have different features going on within them that make them different from each other. And they're also honestly pretty good variations in that shade of blue or in the color of flaky that's within them. Now, the question, do you need all of them? Not necessarily, but if this is your favorite type of polish and your favorite type of finish, I don't think any of them are duplicates of each other, so you can justify owning all of them. But then again, that is coming from somebody who owns a lot of polishes that are duplicates of each other, so maybe take that with a grain of salt. I feel like it is nice to have different options for whatever type of mood you're going for. If you want something that feels more like a crystal blue water pool kind of vibe, or if you want something like a little murky and oceanic, or if you want something to give kind of like a mermaid vibe, I feel like these all give off different kind of feelings. And I do think that some of these will work really nicely for other seasons as well, not just that summertime kind of feeling. But I did want to make this video primarily just to show you guys what the differences are in each color. So if you're struggling to decide, do I also need this one, or which one of these should I pick if I'm only picking one or only picking a few of them, then hopefully this can help you decide that just based on what exactly you're looking for. So yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with these these comparison videos. I hope you're enjoying them as well. I'm gonna link all of the polishes that I swatched down in the description so you can check that out if you're interested, but I would love to hear from you. What do you think of this comparison of blue flaky jellies? Which of these is your favorite? Are there any that I missed that you think I should own? Let me know in the comments. And if you have any other requests for comparison videos that you want to see, whether it is a wide comparison like this or if it's a duplicate video, which is another little series that I've been doing on this channel, also definitely leave that in the comments and I can add it to my list. If you enjoy these comparisons, please hit that like button. It really helps me out and it lets me know I'm doing a good job. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, I would really appreciate if you could subscribe. And of course, a huge thank you to my supporters on Patreon, my royal astronomer Amanda M, as well as my cosmic admirals Ken, Rosie, and Angel. I really appreciate your support and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye. Today's fun fact question comes from Patreon supporter Kiku Amber, and Kiku Amber wants to know, would you rather go a week without coffee or a year without chocolate? This is actually an easy one for me. I don't drink caffeine. Now that being said, I do love coffee. I love drinking decaf coffee. I used to drink caffeinated coffee, but it did affect my sleep, so I had to stop drinking it, but I still really enjoy the taste of it. But I very easily go a week without drinking any decaf coffee. I haven't had any today. I did drink some yesterday, but before that, it was probably like 3 or 4 days. So I feel like it would be very easy for me to go a week without any coffee. However, I don't think I could go a year without chocolate. I've definitely developed a lot more of a sweet tooth in the recent years, and I love having a little dessert after a meal. So definitely important for me to be able to have my chocolate, because I do, if I had to choose between like a candy, like a sour or sweet kind of candy versus chocolate, I would always pick chocolate. So yeah, easy decision. No coffee for a week. Let me have my chocolates. But if you want to answer the fun fact question, leave it in the comments. We can chat about it, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.